Hello and welcome to GPTV on Tuesday the 30th of May. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Pearce.
One more day, Gary. One more day and we click into winter. How's autumn been? Bit wet, I would have said.
It's been a bit wet, it's been a bit cool, but you know, it's been very Melbourne. You've got some sunshine, you've got some rain, you've got a bit of something for everyone, Phil.
Do you know what? I love Melbourne weather, and despite what people say, if you don't like the weather, just wait an hour in Melbourne, and that's pretty true, you know. I think the reality is the 1st of June is the start of winter. It's going to be a cold winter, viewers. So if you haven't booked your flight to North Queensland, I suggest you do, because it's going to get pretty miserable around here.
It's going to be cold there, Phil. There's no question about that. But, you know, nothing we can't handle, nothing we haven't done before.
Correct.
Hey, Phil, big weekend. Let's put the towers up straight away. We've got an 84% clearance rate against the industry average of 74%. High five. Nice work. Well done.
Yep.
We'll take that.
Industry, 74%. Good on you, industry, because 74% is the clearance rate of a very healthy, very balanced market. 84% though, shout out to the team at Gary Pearce and Associates who really do the most incredible job. And if you haven't listed with an agency, just call us in because we'd love to have a chat with you. We'd love to help you. We'd love to help you on your journey of property disposal, property ownership, wealth creation, all of the things. But without us sitting at the table, we cannot give you all of the wonderful stories and anecdotes that go into making up a campaign.
Well, we don't need to sit at the table. We do it by Zoom.
We could. Speaking of Zoom, Gary, speaking of Zoom, look, I don't know whether to embrace this fellow or to absolutely pay out on him. But
embrace him.
But we have an international viewer. I'd say we've probably got 2 international viewers. But John, if you're watching the show this week, he sent us a look. Really, John, clearly real estate in the United States is pretty quiet at the moment because John didn't send us an email. John sent us a thesis.
Yes, and it makes War and Peace look like a short story.
Correct. And John, you has sent us an email, amongst other things. He said he's coming to Melbourne and would love to spend some time with us because we've got nothing to do here, John, but show international guests how we do it.
I like the photos, Phil. He said some photos of himself dressing up in all different outfits,
Look,
Phil.
we're going to show a couple of things.
Face there.
He's Faceless John, we're going to call him, but John has shown us what they wear as real estate agents in Florida.
I reckon he's lucky.
And all I can tell you, viewers, is that this is how they dress in Florida. These photos make badly dressed golfers look like they're going out. But the final image of John is where John's in a double-breasted navy suit and he looks the part. And his comment is he looks like he's going to a funeral.
I reckon John could be someone in their early 20s in Nigeria, Phil, sending you a bit of a scam of some other fictional person. We'll have to find out.
I'm not sure why John has asked me for my bank account details, but I will send them to you, of course, John.
And the invitation to buy all that swampland for 20,000 Australian dollars. All that swampland we can buy in Florida, if he thinks is going to be rezoned, we can make a fortune. So thanks for that too, John.
But you are coming to Melbourne.
We're going to find out.
For what reason, I've got no idea.
Why not?
He's booked flights to Melbourne for the first 3 weeks of September 2023.
We're going to get him on GPTV. That's what we do.
You know,
come on,
John, we'd like to have you, but we can't see your face, so we don't know whether you've got a face for television. You might have a face for a podcast, perhaps.
Yes.
But
perfect face for radio.
But send us in a little bit about you, and we'll consider whether we'll have you on the show. It's a paid gig, of course. That is you. You pay us.
That's not true.
But I think if you are a real estate agent in the States, we'd love to speak to you for the very simple reason that your fees apparently are 6%.
They are.
We'd like whatever you're taking.
A piece of your action, mate.
We'd like to sprinkle that 6% dust on our
clientele.
That's
exactly right. Phil, I just want to talk a little bit about a place called Jeparit. Have you heard about Jeparit? Have you heard about that? Happens to be the birthplace of Sir Robert Menzies. Well, I've got to tell you, Phil, that there are people celebrating in the Jeparit pub. They're high-fiving, they are having a big night, they're going to be cheers, they're rolling out the barrel, they're singing, they're having a great time because Jeparit, that group of people in Jeparit have the great pleasure of having properties that are under the threshold of $50,000. So they're saying that when Dan Andrews brought in this new land tax bill, the Japara, the good fine people Japara.
The investors of Japara.
The investors of Japara are saying, you know what?
The real estate moguls of Japara.
They don't have to pay land tax. They're loving it, Phil. All those properties under $50,000 they are in the Japara.
And apparently the mayor's home is also under 50.
Everything's under 50,000 Japara. So I think Japara could have a big flood of people going in. As long as that rates are under $50,000, Japara, you are free of tax.
I don't know where Japara is.
It's in the Mallee somewhere, I think.
But let me tell you, Gary, and you'll remember this because you used to come on the train with me from Melbourne to Cootamundra.
Bloody oath I did,
on the Intercapital Daylight, and sometimes overnight on the Spirit of Progress.
Oh, yeah.
But we used to go through these, I was going to say, godforsaken little towns.
Oh, one horse country town, one pub, one horse town.
But you know, if you think about it, you can buy a very, very nice house in Junee or Bethungra.
Oh, I love Bethungra.
Or some of these little towns. I mean, Junee's not such a small town, but ultimately, if you want to move out of Melbourne and you want to go in search of a dream of living in regional towns, just get on the Intercapital Daylight Express that leaves Spencer Street and goes all the way to Sydney, and you will go through some towns where land tax will not be your problem.
Exactly right. Another place called Rainbow, Phil, which is near the South Australian border. Another one under 50. I was looking at this last night. You know, look at the internet. Where are people going to say my investment property is going to be tax free? Well, they're the places. So Japara investors, Rainbow investors, good on you. We salute you for having the vision to board there.
I tell you what, is it Japara?
Japara.
Yeah. I reckon you can be sure one thing about Australian country towns is that there's always a pub or 10, right? And the pubs are incredible. And for all of our urban viewers who've never really left metropolitan Melbourne in anything other than a plane, go to regional New South Wales, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland, because these country towns are incredible and they're full of the most unique characters. It's interesting, my father, who retired, he was a farmer and he retired, had the farm in Cootamundra, New South Wales.
Loved it.
I remember he retired to Melbourne when he was in his mid-60s, and I remember speaking to him after they'd been here for a few years, and you know, he's a pretty urban guy, my dad.
Sure is.
But I said to him, what do you miss? And he said, I miss talking to the local Cootamundra people, because he said they were so salt of the earth, and their views and outlooks on life were so completely different to people
unpretentious and real.
Absolutely,
real.
And he said he just missed those conversations with these real people.
Well, now pretenses. In Armadale, this conversation would be a little bit different, I would have thought.
Going to the ballet.
Yes,
right?
exactly right.
But
no one made him go to the ballet. He didn't have to. Could have stayed there.
But I've got to tell you, when growing up, you know, the people that live in the country, there's a lot to be said for their view on the world, which is far more in tune with nature than our ridiculous consuming ways.
And what about the famous auctioneer in Cootamundra, Phil, that had his last auction, the stock and station agent who had his last, because I wonder if that's inspiration. Is that going to happen at Gary Period Associates?
We're going to beep out what I'm about to say, but my father's stock and station agent, who used to, you know, we'd sell our sheep, we'd sell our cattle, and what you'd do is you'd get 300 sheep on a truck, you'd take them from your place on a truck, unload them at the sale yards, and these auctioneers, like these absolute Aussie
characters,
the dust and the hats and their expressions were hilarious. Anyway, this guy who would have been in his mid-70s, when he gets up to auction the last pen of sheep for his career, and he gets up in that great Aussie way, that laconic, incredible Aussie way, and says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know that this is my last auction for my entire career. I want to thank you all very much for your business, and you can all get
now that is...
and let me tell you, it was a round of applause. No one was offended. Everybody just... It was just the perfect way. So viewers, stay tuned when I have my last auction.
It's going to be a long time before he does his last auction. I'm not sure that you'll get the applause with the sort of audience that we have, but Anyway, that's the auctioneer's final call. So that's what we can give the heading of this week's episode.
Yeah.
Auctioneer's final call. Let's talk about the real estate market, what's going on out there. We've had some fun. We could write a book, I've got to tell you. There are some great stories.
We will write a book which will be published as they're putting us into the ground.
I think so. That will be the date of release. It'll be allowed, because by then we can't get into any trouble. Philip, we had a big weekend of auctions. I've got to say, there is a sweet spot, Phil. You can get out of there. You don't need to look at those pictures anywhere because they've got nothing to do with the guy that wrote it, the Nigerian teenager. Phil, we're looking at auctions between 1 million and 1.5 is a hot market. It's not red hot, it's white hot. And things are going off the charts, well above expectation. And I know we sold one property, I won't say the address right now, but it sold for in excess of 1.5, which I've got to say was a big shock and big surprise. And Leon, because it was in that area, Leon said that was 1.2 in March.
There's no question, Gary. There are some parts of the market that are now selling for far in excess of what they made when the market was at its boom point. Now, we've got two boom points, haven't we? We've got 2017 was a boom point, of which there's still a lot of properties that are just getting back to the 2017
That was probably the
point.
official boom.
And then we had a COVID boom point.
Yeah, a little bit, 2020.
So I can tell you that 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom villas, single story, one of two, one of three. I reckon they've been massively repriced. I reckon that style of property, and we've proven it now over the last 4 weeks because we've sold a lot of them, those are all making prices that we've never seen before.
Yep, they are. There are things that are really very, very strong. Single level villas, little townhouses. And
interestingly, if you think about the single level villas, a lot of these were built in the 70s and 80s into the early 90s. They were built, the target market for those when they were being built, they were being built specifically for the empty nesters, right? So,
that's right.
You know, in that period of time, the developers would build these with the full expectation that they would be bought by people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. And they were, right? They're now being bought by people in their 20s and 30s because that represents their ability to get into the area that they've grown up. They get 3 beds, 2 bath, they get a lock-up garage, sometimes 2, some small courtyard gardens area, and this is their ability to get into the areas that they grew up because they can't afford to buy a freestanding family home.
And add to that, Phil, the fact that, you know, some of those empty nesters now, they've got more attractive or different options. They've got blocks of apartments with a basement car park, a lift going up. They weren't around,
absolutely.
in our day.
So things change. Everything evolves, everything changes. The people that stand still, Gary, are the ones that end up with moss on their face.
Yes, fair enough. Lovely description there. Phil, 11 Delma Street in Bentleigh East was the first auction that I did. 8 bidders fought that out well beyond its expected range. We lifted the range too in anticipation of the interest, but we got it wrong because it just kept on going. 1.2 to 1.3 was the range, but it went for a whole lot more than that. Phil, number 1 Almagrove was a property that you sold. Beautiful home.
I want to just shout out to the owners of that property.
Delightful people.
You know, you and I and our team, and particularly the ones that have been in it for a long period of time, just love this game all the time.
Absolutely.
Even when, you know, we've got challenges, some clients are more challenging than others.
And fair enough.
Dealing with the general public has its challenges.
Fair enough too.
As they would say about us too. But every now and then vendors come along that just cheer you up and make you feel that they are the reason that we're still doing this.
I agree with that. And by the way, Delma Street was the same for me.
I want to shout out to our Almagrove viewers to just let you know, Almagrove vendors. I just want to let you know that dealing with you from the moment I first met you till the culmination of your auction, just beautiful people, and you're the reason that I get out of bed in the morning for people like you.
Very nice of you to say, Phil. We're well done with the sale. The price is revealed, $2,200,000, which just sits at the top of our range, so congratulations.
Beautiful Hawthorne brick
and seller.
Property,
great
Gary.
looking property.
Just a gorgeous. And that, let me tell you, viewers, if you haven't explored the pocket between, say, Chapel Street, Wellington Street, and Hotham Street and the highway.
It's a great spot.
That
around
area,
Charnwood and Crimea.
That whole area, you know, you've got access to the tram in Brighton Road. You've got access to the tram in Chapel Street. You can walk to Carlisle Street. You can walk to Chapel Street, Windsor, the Astor Theatre. I reckon that location
it's a great
is
pocket.
inner city living at its best.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more, Phil. Well done to buyers and sellers alike. And 258 Barclay Street, not yet sold.
No.
But good opportunity.
Great opportunity. I mean, you get a
1950.
block of land
Buys
there
that.
with a rear access. It's a home that you can move into. It's also a home that you can fully renovate or build a new home or a development subject to council approval.
Want to have a look at this property, Phil? Some images.
Would you like to?
Yeah, I'd like to. Some images now on screen of 2 at 22 Newlyn Street, Phil. Newlyn Street, Caulfield. Now, this property, very, very, very popular. Again, it resonates with what you said earlier, Phil, where you said that young people are buying.
Yes.
Well, it was a young couple that bought this. Congratulations to them. This property had never been sold since it was built. And by the way, that was the same with Delma Street. Delma Street never sold. It was built, I think, in the 60s. Had never been sold before. A family raised 4 wonderful children there, and of course heaps of grandchildren, etc. But never been sold.
Same thing with Parkside.
Is that right?
Been in the same family's hands for 35 years. Let me just address the viewers, Gary.
Yeah, this can't go on. Phil.
No, I think viewers, if you own a property and you've held it for more than 5 years, understand this. That is not good for our business.
Not at all.
We need you to sell every 5 or 6 years. That business,
Or less.
business model
Yeah.
will ensure that every couple of years we can upgrade the size of the yacht that we own.
The holiday house too, Phil, sometimes.
Correct. So I think viewers, have a think about this. If you're happy in your home and you've been there for more than 5 years, you have to come to the conclusion that moving on will enable us to spend more time on our boat in the Mediterranean.
Get to Mykonos.
If you stay there too long,
The chalet in Bulla.
we'll be staying at the caravan park in Rosebud. Not that there's anything wrong with the
nothing
caravan.
wrong with it. It's just not for
in
us.
fact, I drove past the caravan park in
I
Rosebud.
reckon people have fun there, Phil.
It is, I tell you, the people that are going to the Rosebud Caravan Park, particularly over summer, they are having a far better time than the pretentious people like you and me that are going overseas for expensive holidays. Because I can tell you, lifelong memories are made on the are made at the beach, surrounded by other people having fun.
When I was a kid, I went with me Auntie Ez.
Auntie Esme.
Auntie Esme Cherry.
Yep.
She took me, by the way, to the Caravan and Safety Beach, and I had a great time running around
Probably
there.
one of the best holidays you
it
had.
was. It was
Now
a good
you're
one.
just a pretentious, jet-taking, 5-star
Loving.
wanking wanker. And I'm sorry if that's offended anybody.
Okay,
that is you.
Didn't offend me.
Yeah.
Phil, 46 St George's Road. Now that's a buy. It's probably gone.
Now, I reckon by the time GPTV goes to air, there'll be a sold sticker on the board. But I think you're right. What a gorgeous home.
And I think it was 3-1 will buy that.
And what a facade.
beautiful.
Like, that house is magic.
Yeah, it is magic. 63 Lansdowne Road. Now, there's another one, Phil, that was sold. Again, priced in that very low ones and was a runaway train. I think we had 6 bidders for that.
Yep.
And sold to the most delightful young couple. The mother was a bidder. She was fantastic, full of life and energy and fun. And a young couple coming from St Kilda West into St Kilda East, Phil. Again, mind you, double story, that one. But we're seeing it all the time.
I just want to take up with you, because I've had a lot of feedback from the viewers about these ridiculous analogies you bring up, right?
I don't think I had any feedback. You're just going to put your own words in someone else's mouth to get a point across.
Look, I've had a lot of feedback. All of these pages here are people writing in.
They're the guy
saying
for the Nigerian
how
teenager.
ridiculous are a lot of the things that Gary says, like runaway train. An auction was a runaway train.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
How many runaway trains have you actually taken in your life? Like, you've taken a lot of train trips. How many of those train trips were a runaway train?
No, I wasn't an auctioneer of the runaway train of those train trips, Philip.
The simple reality is there are no runaway trains. The trains don't run away.
They do.
In the history of Australia,
I'm going to bring next
viewers,
week.
in the history of Australia, has there been a runaway train? I doubt it.
I think there might have been, Philip, and I think now we'll talk about Parkside Street because that one went off as well. Also,
Well, that was a very strong auction.
Young
It wasn't a runaway train. It
wasn't as good as my auction because mine was a runaway train.
It was a very strong auction.
Strong auction.
With
Good.
multiple bidders.
Nothing to be ashamed of.
A number of things happened during that campaign, Gary. We lifted the range a couple of
6
times
bidders or
in
something.
line with our purchasers'
Interest, yeah.
expectations. We ended up with a single figure because an offer came in.
That was interesting, wasn't it?
An
I wonder how viewers feel about that?
Okay, so
having a one price figure that was the reserve, it was 1.5. There was no mucking around. 1.5, that's the price.
Just so the viewers understand what happened there, I think we were quoting 125 to
1.3 to 1.4,
okay,
something like that.
Call it 1.3 to 1.4.
Yep.
3 days before the auction, we have a advocate sends us in an offer for $1.5 million. Now, we went to the vendor and the vendor said, look, that's a really great offer. I'm inclined to take it. And we said, look, you've got 3 or 4 other buyers.
We don't need to tell the whole story, Philip. They decided to take the offer. They didn't take the offer at that time. They decided to go to auction. They made that the reserve. It was advertised and lo and behold, it sold for more. You know, we don't need to go into the whole strategy and structure.
You are a terrible storyteller.
No, I'm a good one. I'm just a brief one.
You just dumbed that story down.
Yeah, I did.
That was a 10-minute story.
You know what? People never get that 10 minutes back in their life, okay? Let's move on, Phil. 36 Fitzgibbons Crescent. Well done to Daniel Peer, who sold that one for $2,600,000. Philip sold before auction. And hey, 16 Eileen Avenue. Well, I got to say, I enjoyed auctioning that, Philip. And again, another young couple bought that, and congratulations. The price range was 146 to 16. They wanted undisclosed, but it was pretty much in the middle of the range. I can share that, Philip.
I came along and watched you do that auction,
yeah,
Gary.
Thanks,
I thought you were excellent.
Thank you. I'm having some fun.
I rated you as a solid 9 out of 10.
Take that anytime.
But there's always room for improvement, Gary. So I gave you some constructive criticism. I hope you'll take that on board.
I'm happy to improve. It's good to see you there in the audience, and I let you off very, very carefully.
You did. You were very light. I thought I was going to get paid out on.
Yeah, I know. I let you get away with not having anything thrown at you, Phil. Phil, next week, by the way, it's been very topical, talking about the rental market, what's happening in the rental market. And next week we have 2 icons and identities of the rental market, being Jenny Coy, who heads up our Caulfield St Kilda office, and Anthony Lee, who heads up our Carnegie operations for property management. Both fine people and wonderful leaders. They are going to come and tell us the facts of what's going on in the rental market.
It'll be great to talk to them, Gary, because they're both responsible for very substantial portfolios, and they just do it so well. They sure do. They're calm and they're collected, as you need to be in really, which is probably the most challenging part of running a real estate agency, property management.
Phil, we've got some properties coming up this week for auction. We've got some fine properties that we're bringing to the market. Shall we review them?
Let's jump into those, because this is turning into a long edition, Gary.
That's for sure. Phil, a smorgasbord of auctions coming up this weekend across many suburbs. I think we've got around 20 auctions. We're, I think, in 10 or 11 suburbs on Saturday. Let's kick off with some 10:30 auction action. Philip, 3 at 17 Hewenden Road in St Kilda West.
Beautiful 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, 1-car-space apartment undercover. Gary, beautiful building and an incredible location.
1 at 6 to 10 Lansdowne Road, 10:30am. I'm auctioning that one for Leon Guzenfitter.
Love that address, Gary. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, secure car parking and a courtyard garden. Brilliant location.
David Thompson is in Murrumbeena Road, 10 at 106 Murrumbeena Road.
Check out this modern building, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, secure basement car parking. Lots to love about that, including the wonderful terrace.
8 at 22 Margaret Street, Carnegie. Graham Callan, he's going to be the auctioneer there at 10:30am.
Hard to find a 3-bedroom apartment, Gary, and this is as good as it gets and as large as it gets. A fabulous opportunity.
Wonderful address, Horsley Avenue in Balaclava, Phil. Jeremy Rosen's Auctions.
You couldn't get a more beautiful building than this.
Love it.
All around an English green. 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 1 car space.
I've got auction honours at 11:30, Philip, at 464 Hawthorne Road for Joel Sir.
Gary, what a great property that is. 2 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, a secure car park, storage cage, everything that opens and shuts.
I know you love it in Elwood, Phil, and Shelley Street. Elwood's one of the best streets in that suburb. 11:30 auction action there.
Gary, Elwood's one of the greatest suburbs on the planet. 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, plenty of off-street car parking, lots of land, a wonderful opportunity.
When you finish that auction, you can jump up the road, Philip, to Alder Street and auction this brand new, stunning townhouse.
One of the best I've seen, Gary. 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a lock-up garage, everything that opens and shuts. It's stunning.
Back in Dramana Avenue, Philip, I go at 11:30. 3rd auction there in that particular development. 3rd and final auction. Love this town residence.
3 bedrooms, a study, 2.5 bathrooms, secure double lock-up garage, a beautiful looking building, magnificent inside.
Jeremy Rosens is auctioning this. Gem in Orong Road, Phil. Gem auctioning the Gem. 7 at 370 Orong Road.
Walking distance to the Alma Village and the tram in Dandenong Road. 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom, 1 car space, Gary. Storage opportunities there as well. That's a ripper.
Real estate identity, David Thompson is going to be auctioning a wonderful property in Charlton Street in Bentleigh.
3 bedrooms, Gary, 2 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking, double lock-up garage. Love these single-storey homes. They are just magic.
you're going to be in Myrtle Street, Philip, or at least Jeremy Rosen's is, at 1:30 p.m. Our only 1:30 auction. Jeremy Rosen's auctions this great-looking property.
The most incredible home, Gary. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plenty of off-street parking, gorgeous garden areas, freestanding, and that's had one of the best renovations I think you'll see.
What a pretty facade this home has, Philip. It's a 2:30 auction in Gardenvale at 14 Begonia Road.
5 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking, big parcel of land there, Gary. And of course, Gardenvale or Elsternwick, call it what you will, but most important to call that home.
Now, it might be sold, Phil, but if it isn't, it will be going to auction on Saturday at 2:30. That's 208 at 8 Bond Street.
Yes,
Caulfield
a good
North.
property if your name is James, Gary.
Oh,
1
yes.
bedroom, 1 study, 1 bathroom, 1 car space, and that development is the most incredible place in which to live.
Phil, we've got a stunning home on Hoffman Street, which is on a corner site, Philip, with a swimming pool. It's a period home, Philip, a beautiful old-style period family home. Going up at 10:30 a.m. You have auction honours. That's 34 Hoffman Street. Be there,
Move
Phil.
straight into that one, Gary. You don't need to spend a cent. Large parcel of land as well.
You can't have your cake in Edith too, Phil, but you'll be trying to have that at 11:30 a.m. It's 1A Edith Street. A fine-looking property indeed.
One of the best of its type in this price range. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a lock-up garage, beautiful courtyard gardens, and incredible development.
We've got double auction action at 12:30. Phil, you're going to be at 28 Fosbury Avenue, one of the finest streets in Caulfield.
Not only that, Gary, but it's a tightly held street and one of the best family homes I think we've had in a long time. You've got as many as 6 bedrooms, 4 beautiful bathrooms, double lock-up garage, a big parcel of land, a swimming pool, gorgeous garden areas. Just move straight in and get on with life.
One at 4 Bamber Road, Philip, goes to auction at 12:30 with Jeremy Rosen.
Love this block. One of the biggest apartments you're likely to see. That is 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, off-street car parking, and literally walk out your front door and you're at Caulfield Park.
If not sold prior, Philip, which it may well be, 48 Lumia Road goes to the market at 1:30 on Sunday.
1,091 square metres of the primest of North Caulfield land, right in the epicentre of the Golden Mile. A beautiful Spanish mission 4-bedroom, 1 study, 4.5 bathroom family home. It is elegant, it is solid, and it is magnificent.
An iconic property indeed, Philip. We bring down the curtain at 2:30 p.m. at 2 at 48. Balaclava Road, St Kilda East.
2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, basement car parking for 2 cars, Gary. That is as good as it gets, complete with a wraparound courtyard garden.
3 feature properties to talk about, Phil. They're not being auctioned this weekend, but they're coming up pretty soon. Number 4, Winton Road in Malvern East. What a fine-looking home.
What an incredible home, Gary. That's got everything you'd ever want. 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking, a wonderful parcel of land, and a beautiful home.
Simon Rodolnik, he is excited about this apartment on Alma Road, Philip. It's a great looking property and it's got, I think, a number of courtyards or a big courtyard.
You should be excited, Gary, because this is 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom, 2 car spaces, wraparound courtyard gardens, a fabulous floor plan, not a cent to spend.
That was 3 at 194 Alma Road, by the way, Phil, and we're bringing down the curtain of our properties to review in this fine property that Jack Slater is excited about. It's been written up in the Herald Sun, a very well-known and prominent owner, Philip, as you know, 17B Robe Street, St Kilda.
Gary, this is a ripper, 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, plenty of off-street car parking, one of the most beautiful houses you'll see. Check out the garden area, the spa, everything about that property, let alone the incredible position. You've got the whole of Melbourne on your doorstep. To be able to walk to the beach, to Ackland Street, to Fitzroy Street, access to the city, Robe Street is a very special address.
It doesn't get much better than that, Phil, and that is a big wrap on this week's very, very lengthy and interesting and exciting and enticing and alluring episode.
So
of GPTV.
You say, Gary, the viewers will give us their feedback as to whether it was too long or too short, but thanks for watching. Shout out to our man from Florida who is on his way to see us in September. Thanks for watching. I'm Philip Kingston. Have a great week.
I'm Gary Peer. We'll see you next time.